Welcome, everybody. Thanks for attending our webinar. We've been trying to do a series of these, and I think this is number 6 now, and this should be very interesting. We've got some really good special guests. Tonight we've got a firefighter from Station 69 who fought the fire, Chris Burton, and we've got Mike is a CEO of Wetline wildfire defense company. So we're going to go right into our agenda, which is we're going to start off with Chris fighting the Palisades fire, tales from the front lines. Then we'll talk about fire smart design, and then we will show you the state of the art wetline wildfire defense system, which is just fantastic. So first, we're going to do a little introduction, who we are. I'm James Lecron, licensed architect in California and Hawaii, and a native of Pacific Palisades, born and raised.
Yeah, and I'm Karen Arri Lecron, architect. I'm licensed in California. I've also lived in the Palisades over the last years, so we're both hometown.
Yeah, I'm Bob Niesner, and I'm a licensed general contractor and actually a real estate broker for over 40 years. And it's all been here in Southern California. And I do hope you all pick something up today from all the information we're going to give you.
Mike Yakovich, CEO, owner of Wetline Wildfire Defense, located in Culver City.
Thank you.
My name is Chris Burton. I'm assigned to Fire Station 69. I'm an engineer on the A shift. I've got 25 years on the fire department, and the last 3 have been in 69s. And before that, I was kind of all over the city, South Central, West LA, Hollywood, that kind of here. So happy to be here.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you,
So
Chris.
it all started for me back in '78. I was just graduating from Pali, and the first Palisades fire took 30 houses, a lot on my street at the top of El Medio, and we thought that was a big deal back then. Now, 6,800 houses just in the Palisades alone, and 9,400 in Altadena. Just unbelievable. Here's Chris's home, and why don't you let us know what Fire Station 69 is all about, Chris?
Fire Station 69, we were talking earlier, was built in the early 60s. It has 12 firefighters every day. So there's 36 total assigned there. There's an engine, a truck, and then there's another engine with 2 guys on it that they work as a team together, and then the ambulance, which is 2. So we work 10 days a month, 10 24-hour shifts a month. And Palisades is supposed to be a nice, sleepy retirement station. Supposed to be where you go and finish out your career.
Yeah.
And
It's anything but that, huh? Yeah.
Anything but that until the 7th.
Yeah, so you can see here, this is pre-fire Pacific Palisades, and Station 69 is right in the heart of the village there.
Yeah, it was a nice little community fire station. We knew everybody that walked by the station. You'd see the same people every day. We knew all of our neighbors.
Yep.
And yeah, most of them are all gone now. So it's kind of a weird place to work.
Yeah. So this was the beginning, up near Skull Rock, up near the Highlands.
That is off of Piedra Morada. That's where we were assigned the first day, or we were the second company on scene. Station 23 was the first. They were like right at the bottom of Palisades Drive.
Yeah. I should say a couple of things too that I forgot to mention. If anybody has any questions, you can do the chat button at the bottom, and we'll see those and try and answer them as we see them. And then the other thing is that at this first segment going through, just a disclaimer, might be a little bit hard for some of you to watch, but I hope we learn a lot from Chris on the front lines.
Yeah, that's our engine up on Piedra Morada, the first couple hours of the fire. And then basically it was coming down from Skull Rock into the Piedra Murata area, burning towards the homes. That's the way the wind was pushing it till about sunset, and then it shifted and started pushing it down towards the ocean.
Yeah, who are these guys? There's a lot of them.
That's a camp crew, which is they do a lot of wildland stuff, and it looks like they're working hand in hand with the fire company, so they have water and the camp crew working together.
Wow.
And then you can see off to the right, there's like a FOS check line from a tanker. So it looks like they're just trying to back up that FOS check line.
Mhm.
And that was early in the fire. That's the corner house on Piedra Murata there.
Now I notice you guys are at houses with pools. Is that intentional or?
No, it just worked out that way. This is the house that we were kind of anchoring. It had the best view for where that we could look at. You could see up the canyon, and it just happened to have a pool.
Mhm.
So it just worked out that way.
But you like houses with pools, right? Because you can.
Houses with pools are great because we could put a siphon ejector in there and we could pull water out of that pool and fight fire until we run out of water.
Yep. So this is evacuating.
How much of a problem was that getting people out of that area, Chris?
People were like fleeing their houses as we came in. They were like, a couple people stuck around for a few minutes, like, hey, what do you need? And we said, hey, get all your patio furniture into a safe area, button your house up, close your blinds, all that stuff. Get all the wood piles away from your house. And then they left, and it was just us up there for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that house that we pulled up to, the lady said, I'm leaving everything unlocked. Help yourself to the house. So
tell us about this scene, because was it your wife that called you and said, don't go that way? What happened? You went down to Lockman?
it was funny because we had a pretty limited cell up at the top. And then every now and then you would get into a certain area and I'd get like 5 or 6 texts. And it was always like, what's going on? Everybody in the crew communicating with each other because we were kind of spread out along the ridge. And then my wife texted me, hey, it's on the news. Don't go down to Sunset and Palisades Drive because it's a huge traffic jam.
Yeah. So how did you
I
get
that trying to get people out?
Yeah. How did you get down from Highlands then? You went.
We came down. There's a service road off of Lockman.
Yep.
So it's usually locked up. We had the keys for it. We unlocked it and came through there. And we were able to get to the top of Lockman and work our way down. And that was about sunset. We came around 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's the county guy clearing everything. Then we went to El Medio from Lockman. I think we did dip down on the Sunset for a little bit. I think we came down Bienvenida and went to El Medio.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we worked our way up El Medio, which was just a totally different thing from what we were up on Lockman, because it was now the fire's coming at us.
Yeah.
Some houses that were already starting to burn. And then now the water pressure had dropped out. And we probably had about 30 or 40 pounds of water pressure in the system. That's a few days after the fire.
This is interesting to me because this is actually Anoka Drive, which is at the top of El Medio. This was the street I lived on. I lived right here. And going back up there now, I've noticed that more houses were lost in this neighborhood in the 78 fire than were lost in this fire. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, we had a lot of. Yeah, that looks like it's more down on. Yeah, that's more down on Sunset.
Yeah. So now you're heading to the alphabet streets, right?
Yeah, that's when after sunset, after the sun went down, not sunset, the street, the sun went down, the wind really picked up. It almost doubled in speed. It went from 20 and 30 mile an hour to like 60 miles an hour consistently with gusts up to 80 and 100.
Mm-hmm.
It was more, I've never felt anything like that for as far as wind goes.
Wow. So you end up in the alphabet streets, and that's where your fire station is. So
Yeah, we ended up in the Alphabet Streets, trying to save houses, and it's a different type of houses down there on the Alphabet Streets than up on El Medio and Piedra Morada. They're older, closer together,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
then by then the water system had totally bottomed out.
So this is a typical Alphabet Street house, a newer one. Most of them have been rebuilt. All the original ones were like little one-story houses. But this house you can see is all wood siding, wood trellis, wood windows, and burns really well. So this is what happened. And so when you're in a neighborhood, we've talked about this. I mean, do you notice the construction of the houses and which you size them up as to which houses are going to have a better chance?
Definitely. Oh, for sure. Yeah, we definitely did. There was definitely some houses in there that were like, there's no way we're going to be able to protect this house.
Right.
And then there's some that are like, hey, we got a good chance. We're going to try and save this house.
Yeah.
And we just kept falling back. We started off at Cary. We were about halfway up Cary, and we just started falling further and further back. Like we just couldn't keep up with the houses would light off. And then once one would get going, it would just light the one next to it off.
Yeah.
And they're so close together down there. The radiant heat was just incredible. We were spraying a couple of hose lines with 200 gallons a minute straight into the building, the open fire, and it was just evaporating before it even touched the fire.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was the heat coming off of it with the wind blowing it was just like a blowtorch. It was like a bellows that.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then it just got into that cascading effect where it just exponentially, like it just started growing and growing and growing, and now it was just you can't even keep up with it.
Yeah. And then we were talking earlier, and then with the wind and the embers, now the fire is going, towards Brentwood, and now it's going towards Malibu at the same time. So it's blown over there too.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not going linearly. It's the embers are blowing so far down the way. It's just jumping, miles ahead of where we're at. We were able to keep up with.
Yeah, it
Wow.
took out Sunset Mesa and then all through Topanga and up to Malibu and the coast.
Yeah, yeah. And then it seemed like every place we were at, we would just be like, you'd look over the ridge and it would start to light off, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe like it's starting to light off over there. We like you got to get somebody over there, and then the helicopters had to go down about 5 or 6 o'clock because it was too windy. They couldn't fly.
Right.
They have a safety limit where they can't fly, and it's not even effective for them to drop water because it just blows off before it even hits the ground.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get helicopters over there, and it was just it was very frustrating because we're not used to losing on the fire department. You were used to winning and saving houses and saving families, and we'd go and save one house. We'd get a good knockdown on it. It would start to light off. We'd go in, take care of it. We move on to the house next door. We come out, and the house we just saved was on fire.
Yeah.
And it was such a gut punch.
And for those that don't know, Station 69 is right here. And you told me something interesting at the station there that the houses were on fire right behind the station, but there's a hedge of what was it, ficus trees or
Yeah, there's houses like that, and there's a ficus wall behind the station, and there's a couple on Chautauqua, and that survived because you're only allowed to have a fence that's so high in the city, but you can grow your trees and you can make a hedge that's 20, 30 feet high.
Yeah, landscaping is very important on I believe it was the last webinar that we did. We had a landscape architect and we're really focusing on that with defensible space and proper planting and all that. You can get plants that will help. And you got to be careful. You can get plants that will not help. Like the Eames house is a very famous house in the Palisades, and it did not burn, but I was looking at pictures of it. It's surrounded right up next to it by eucalyptus trees, which are one of the worst.
Yeah, eucalyptus trees, those Italian cypress trees.
Yeah.
Those things go quickly and
interesting.
Yeah, eucalyptus is so oily, it burns so hot and quick.
Yeah.
But those ficus trees, I was amazed that like it filtered out all those embers.
Yeah.
And it was able to, and it will save a lot of houses. We were really surprised by that.
Yeah, it's good to know. Like, try and learn. So this is the aftermath, and you can see the alphabet streets. This has been interesting for us because this is the El Medio Bluffs, and there's kind of a central portion of that that fared very well. Um, and then we've been up in the Marquez Knolls a lot, and doing some projects up there. I'm kind of astounded. The higher you go, the more houses were saved. Uh, Everything lower down was gone. And then you can see how far away Sunset Mesa is. Uh, so that was just must have been embers that kind of it jumped the canyon here and then went towards Malibu. So
Yeah.
just yeah, unbelievable. And then
Yeah.
and then you sent me some pictures of some of the survivors. Now this, it must be fiber cement siding or just this guy's got the most should be buying lottery tickets because but sometimes it's luck and the way the wind blows and whatever, but you can get this look, this wood look, and we'll talk about it in a little bit with the proper materials. It can be hardened and look like wood, but if it's real wood and if it's vinyl windows, it's no bueno. And then this same thing, you can get this look and still have a very fire smart end product. This house I've seen in the alphabet streets, and it's done all the right things. It's got good windows. Um, Everything is protected, plaster and metal. So it's all part of what we call fire smart design. And then now there's new construction beginning. A lot of these had were in the pipeline before the fire, so you don't get too excited about how fast they're going. But it 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 saddens me when I see things that people are just building back the same way that they were before. We don't need to do that. Houses don't need to burn. We don't do that. We prefer to build with steel. We can build with wood. If we get a lot of pushback, a lot of people just want it to be wood, and we can harden it and do a wood framed house. No problem. It just you got to be adamant about hardening it. But this was a Woolsey fire rebuild that we did, and we did it with fire smart design techniques. And this house will survive the next fire. So thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. If you can hang out, I know you had to take off early, but
Yeah.
hang out.
Do you have any questions for Chris? I see a question here. Do aluminum clad wood windows also burn like vinyl? Is fiberglass a good option or no?
So that's what you want is an aluminum clad wood window, a good high quality one. The best is a steel one, all metal window frame. It's the frames, and we'll talk about it in just a few minutes in here. But vinyl is the absolute worst. If you have vinyl windows, you're going to lose your house. Fiberglass, there's a couple companies that make fiberglass. They claim that it's okay in fire. I'm a little skeptical, but it's a step up for sure. Um, we're adamant about pushing windows are the weakest part of the house, and so spend the money on the windows, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
That's definitely something we noticed on the fire
Yep.
was the house next door would be fully involved, and then we're like, okay, this guy's got a good solid house. Um, it's a steel roof. It's got stucco. There's no eaves, and then all of a sudden it's burning from the inside out, and we're like, what happened? You're like, oh, the windows melted out, and
Exactly.
all the vinyl melted, and now it's whatever furniture you had inside the house lit off.
Yeah, the fire code requires dual pane, one pane minimum as tempered glass. Um, for years, it didn't address the frame, and people were buying vinyl windows right and left, and every single time. It's now I think the new fire code that's coming out 2025 hopefully addresses that.
Yeah, one of the houses that was a rebuild in the Thomas fire, they lost their whole home and they were so saddened and saying, "Why did my house burn?" And we just put brand new windows in just a couple months ago. And we said, "What kind of windows?" And they said vinyl. And we said, "There you go. That's what did it. It was the vinyl windows melting out and creating the firestorm." in the house.
So
So,
go ahead. I'm sorry. This
oh,
question
go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
pools were drawn from the fire. Um, about 4 pools we drew from,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to protect chunks of 5 or 6 houses from one pool.
Yeah. See, and we emphasize if you're able to, if you have the land, if you have the budget, put in a pool. You guys are going to be more likely to, make a stand where there's a pool if you can, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And we could. It takes. We have to run hose back there.
Mhm.
And I was telling you guys earlier, there was one house we went into that had a pump and a little Briggs and Stratton motor and some hose, and we went to start their pump, and it hadn't been running years, and it was all seized up.
Yeah.
So like you couldn't even get the motor to start. So we were like, oh, okay, like well, we have to move on to this one.
Well, and we talked about this too, and you told me, and that it's LA County is now requiring if you have a pool to put a connection for fire department connection at the street, right?
Yeah, I've never seen it,
Yeah,
but I've heard about it in the county. Yeah,
yeah, and so we're gonna start doing that whether it's required or not. That I think that's a great thing to have.
Chris, how
Um,
about hot tubs or anything like that? Are those too small, or would those are a good idea if people can't?
no, we've got like a little. You connect hose to it, and you pump water through it, and it pulls water from it, and it's only maybe 3 feet by
Mhm.
2 feet. You just throw it in. We could throw it in. It's ponds and lakes and stuff like
Okay.
that. So the hot tub's fine. It's just not a lot of volume, but
Yeah,
yeah.
better than nothing.
because I know a lot of people don't have the room for a pool, but a hot tub or something, some water feature is always a good idea for.
Yeah, yeah, even if you have a stream or something like that, I could pull from that. I don't need a lot of surface area to pull from.
Yeah, we were just talking to a woman this morning at the Chamber of Commerce breakfast in the Palisades, and she was saying that she had 3 big fountains, yeah, at her house, and you guys were pulling water from that.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
wow, okay, cool. All right, so we'll go through this quick because I want to get to Mike because he's got some real interesting stuff. But so. Talking about fire smart design.
So basically, Fire Smart Design is compiled with 4 different subjects: architecture, material, active measures, and defensible space is landscape. And as architects, we've never lost a fire design that we designed to fight wildfire. So
Yeah, and we've been
that's been
tested.
this one here was a house we did in Santa Barbara, which survived the T fire. Do you remember what year that was, Jim?
It's 2006, and
Yeah.
this is done with the Hardy board fiber cement siding, very good windows, very good roofing. Um, Everything is Class A rated. Everything else in the neighborhood burned down. This was the sole survivor.
Other styles that we've worked with, this is a house in Montecito that survived the Thomas Fire also that was already that we did in a Mediterranean style. The one on the right is from the Thomas Fire, and this was the house that burnt to the ground due to the vinyl windows.
Yeah,
So
this
we
was
were
our
commissioned,
rebuild of that.
yeah, so we were commissioned to rebuild it back, and we used a fire resistant system called Gigacrete, which is completely fire resistant to anything and steel windows and things. So it was good. The one on the left, this is all from the Woolsey fire just recently. These are fire rebuilds. The one on the right is in Malibu. All 3 of them are from Malibu. So those got rebuilt in a fire resistant designs.
Yeah, steel windows. The one on the bottom is stone, metal roof. The one on the upper left is all Gigacrete. Um, and the one on the right is a hybrid of steel framing and some Gigacrete elements. So fire smart design, we talk about active measures and passive measures. Architecture is a passive measure. It's the actual what style house is it? And it can be modern, it can be Mediterranean, it could be French, it can be Spanish. what everything shares, is common to everything is non-combustible materials. And even the modern one, it looks like wood, but it's not. It's a Class A fiber cement siding. So then beyond the architecture itself, it's the materials. And we've spoken about this quite a lot. We did another webinar that's where we had the CEO of Gigacrete. Gigacrete is a fire well, no one says fireproof, but very fire resistant structural system. But you can use the components of it. It's plaster. If you wanted a wood frame, you can do that. It can be big fancy houses. It can be tiny little houses. It can be an ADU. Any budget, any style.
Let me explain this house that Karen, Jim, and I built, and it's a great example of a fire resistant home. The siding on the outside is a fire resistant cementous siding. The stucco is that Gigacrete product that Karen and Jim just mentioned that is very, very fire resistant. You'll notice the exterior decks all tile. The railing is all steel wires, nothing, no wood that could burn. Also, the roofs are flat, so any flames, any embers, flow right over those, and won't get into the house.
Yeah, no attics, no vents.
Exactly, and all metal windows, dual glazed glass.
Hmm.
So virtually every aspect of the exterior of this house is designed to keep the fire from getting into the structure at all.
So now the Gigacrete plaster, which can be used just on conventional construction as well, is a different animal. It's not Portland cement. It's actually a ceramic-based plaster, which is very similar to the tiles on the belly of the old space shuttles. And this is 1700-degree torch, direct flame. And if you notice, that's the CEO of Gigacrete's hand holding it. I never noticed that
There's a
before.
lot of trust in that.
Yeah, exactly. They've done it's rated as a 4-hour fire resistant material. Traditional stucco, an inch thick, is rated at 1 hour. This is only a quarter of an inch thick, and it's rated at 4 hours of testing. And when they pulled the torch off of it, within about 5 seconds, it's cool to the touch. It actually reflects the heat. The whole system of Gigacrete is a steel framed EPS foam panel system that's all pre-cut in the factory. It's not a modular home. It's just everything is pre-cut so there's no waste, and it's assembled on site.
Yeah, you can see how easy it goes together. All the studs and all the panels are pre-cut, as Jim said. They bring it in from the factory. All of the material has been labeled already, so it's like putting a jigsaw together. And you can see these three are simply bringing the studs in, setting them in place, and then sliding the panels in. And what's great about this product too is there's very, very little waste at all. It all comes together, delivered, piled on the site, so you're not bringing it multiple times. The labor is a lot of times the most expensive thing in building a house, and in this case, that's not a problem because it goes together so fast. Um,
Right.
Very cost effective.
And very easy to do electrical and plumbing. Everything is pre-located in the factory, so everything goes together. That house it was the Ventura house rebuild, 2,500 square foot house, and the whole thing was the whole kit was put together and ready for plaster, ready for dried in about 2 weeks. So the plumbing is already pre-located in the kit and just assembled on site. Now the plaster, once the house is completely erected, the plaster is applied directly to the foam. It molecularly bonds to the foam, goes up. There's no lath. They do a fiberglass mesh in the first coat, and then they go right over immediately with the second coat, and the next day it's dried in. So the plaster doesn't take a month and a half like traditional stucco. Um, Besides the Gigacrete system, like the house that we did in Santa Barbara that survived the T fire, they make a lot of good products with fiber cement siding, Class A rated, won't burn, but it looks just like wood, and you can get all the same the same profiles and the same architecture. For the past 10 years, we've been using a product that we like. The fiber cement stuff, it's painted. So if you want a stained wood look, this is actually a heavy duty aluminum that is non-combustible, Class A rated, and it's a beautiful product. And it's stood up to oceanfront conditions in Hawaii that are very corrosive. It's like I say, Class A rated. This is the Malibu house that was a Gigacrete house, and you can see the enclosed eaves. That's all stucco max with that plaster. We've got good solid metal windows with laminated fire resistant glass, and then this product for the siding, and it looks exactly like wood. It does feel like metal when you touch it, so there's no, there is that. But the other products that are mandatory are Class A roofing products. You can.
You can see here we've got two different types of tile. Cement tile, clay tile, or slate tile is very good used on your house, very fire resistant. These are both Class A rated. Some of the others,
Yeah, metal roofs.
Metal roofs, standing metal seam roofs that look very attractive and are very protective. Chris will atone to that. I'm sure that you saw a lot of that helped a lot.
Yes.
There's even a Class A composition roof, which it was surprising to me how the quality of their material has improved over the years.
Yeah, and this is a very inexpensive product too. So this is ubiquitous. But these are all code too. So you're not going to be able to do anything other than a Class A roof. But there's lots of options to it. And we touched on this high quality. This is so important. High quality dual pane tempered glass windows. We actually go above and beyond that if the budget will allow, and we'll do 2 panes of laminated fire rated glass set in a heavy metal frame. This is the best of the best, and it far exceeds code. But these are impact resistant. If things are blowing around, they're not going to break. The fire is not coming through your windows with this. This is what we talk about with vinyl windows. Fire absolutely is going to come through with vinyl windows. Your nice dual pane tempered glass system is going to fall right out. The other thing is we try and do projects that don't require ventilation. If you have an attic or a crawl space in the foundation and you have to have vents, they make really good fire proof vents now.
Yeah, let me show you a second here. These are two examples of what building and safety in the city allow you to put in for vents. And as you can see right through them. These are not going to prevent embers or flames.
Exactly. That's code. What you're looking at. It's like an 1/8 inch mesh. Big deal.
And these vents go, as Jim mentioned, they go under the crawl space, they go into attics, they go into garages. It's all meant to actually draw the air in, dry out any wetness under the house, get any fumes of any type out of a garage, keep the heat out of your attic. So they are definitely something that you need to have. However, what we should be using is something like this. This is a vent where in the side of it, there are chambers where the embers have to go through before getting into the house or possibly getting into the house. And the last thing is it also still has a mesh here, but the odds of embers and flames going through this are very, very slim compared to the other thing. And overhangs also, if you've ever noticed, overhangs oftentimes need ventilation. This is a nice product that also has chambers in it, and again, a screen in the back, but very, very protective.
Yep. So the other,
And by a firefighter too, so that's, I'm sure that gets Chris's endorsement there.
yeah.
Oh, sure. For definitely.
So we don't like rain gutters. We will advocate for not doing rain gutters if we can. LA City requires rain gutters. So we have to do rain gutters. But if you're going to do rain gutters, we got to specify gutter guards to keep the leaves and debris out of there. But it's not just the gutter guards. If you have to do it and you do this, the product you select has got to be metal, not vinyl. The one on the left is vinyl, the one on the right is metal. We don't want to see vinyl anywhere. And on the same line of thought, everything on the property needs to be Class A rated, non-combustible. You can get decking, you can get fencing, you can get trellises, you can get furniture that's all fire rated. And there shouldn't be anything on your property that's not fire rated. And if you have, wood or things like that that you can get fire rated tarps to put over your firewood. Probably nobody has firewood anymore anyway. The city of LA, actually the state of California, doesn't allow wood burning fireplaces anymore. So that's kind of going away anyway. But just everything, your fences, your trellises, your decking, your furniture, everything's got to be Class A fire rated. So now we're going to talk about that's all the passive measures. Active measures, Mike is going to talk about.
Before we start, is there anything else you need? Like any questions before I get out of here? I got to go volunteer at high school real quick. So
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, if anybody has
Yes.
any last minute questions for Chris, go ahead and type them in and we'll try to.
And if you think of something later, send us an email and we'll make sure he gets it and we'll track him down.
anybody's always welcome to come into the fire station any time of day. Like, well, not any time of day, business hours. And, knock on the door. Don't be afraid to come in and ask questions. Everybody's very friendly. Nobody's going to bite your head off for coming in.
And they sell T-shirts. I'm going to
Thank
go.
We sell
so
T-shirts and hats.
And hats. Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. You've been a rock star and just been so instrumental, and just seeing your vantage point, being there on the front lines. We appreciate everything you and the fire department does for all the residents of these fires.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Too.
All right, Mike, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Mike with Wetline Wildfire Defense, and thanks for having us on here, James and Karen and Robert. Appreciate your enthusiasm. I think we all share the same enthusiasm with this wildfire protection. Giving people an opportunity to have a home that's gonna stick around and survive these natural disasters that we're having. And I can see that you guys are as passionate as we are about this, and something I stumbled onto about 7 years ago, accidentally. And I find fascinating that it's this difficult to, have these conversations about products and what little knowledge and what little products are out there that can actually help people save their homes, and the lack of knowledge that's out there as well. It's pretty mind-blowing that we've had these problems for so long, like you've talked about. And here we are, we have to do a panel to start giving people information. So we started a company, Wetline, 7 years ago, and we have now, after 7 years, put together 6 layers of wildfire defense for your home. And the first and foremost is our automated sprinkler system that is an autonomous system that operates off city water, then it'll operate off of pool water. We also bring in tanks, cisterns, and extra water storage tanks as well that we put underground or on property, because we know that people's pools, people don't have pools like we were talking about earlier. That water is scarce, so we have lots of alternatives to water. But we also use a fire suppressant, fire retardant in our system that comes out, that sprays out of our sprinklers. That is called Cold Fire. That is a biodegradable fire resistant, as well as a product that keeps everything cool. So once it's on the plants, once it's on your property, your lounge chairs, your roof, your surrounding area, it doesn't allow for direct flame impingement, doesn't allow for things to ignite, but keeps things cool. So those plants and trees, if that fire were to come up that canyon, it's hard to believe that that property would look exactly like it does, and those plants and trees would still be green, just like they are right now, because of the product that we use. And we've also got our paints, our long-term paint coatings that we use, which are do the same thing that we've been talking about. Don't allow for direct flame impingement. Don't allow things to ignite, but also keep things cool. So this is a great product.
It's the world's most effective range of fire retardant coatings, which have been designed to protect homes and properties in extreme wildfire conditions. By simply brushing, rolling, or spraying, both Fire Coat Exterior and Fire Coat Interior achieve high fire ratings to deliver groundbreaking defense against fire. FireCoat uses advanced intermescent technology, expanding under extreme heat to form an insulating char layer that slows the spread of flames, reduces damage to the surface, and buys critical time for evacuation and emergency response. The char can be removed post-burn by scraping, sanding, or pressure washing, making a surface ready for repainting to bring it back to new condition. FireCoat is long-lasting, water-based, PFAS-free, and applies just like regular paint. It can be used as an undercoat on most surfaces and topped with any colour of water-based paint. Rigorous testing and certifications prove that FireCoat works.
Good day, mate. Why am I hungry for a Vegemite sandwich?
And as you talked about also the vents, we do lots of different vents. One of the things you guys were talking about earlier was, a lot of houses are retrofits. A lot of these houses in California, not everybody's going to build new. So we kind of specialize in these ember resistant gutters and vents. We actually make them in-house if we have to. We do lots of retrofitting. Of course, we like the ones that you're showing, the brand that you're showing, designed by or invented by a firefighter. Those are amazing. Yep. And we use 99% of our jobs we install those. But we've learned that this really is if those houses in Palisades and Eaton had these vents, just the ember resistant vents alone, the drop in loss would be dramatic. That's such a simple thing. And what was talked about earlier, the glass, we do also work with a fire resistant laminate that doesn't allow for the glass to break at over 600 degrees. It keeps the glass intact. And when things are flying through the air, it keeps things from breaking through the glass as well. We still see a lot of older homes with single panes of glass. And so this is a great product to use.
So this is a laminate, a coating or a film that you can put over an existing.
It's a film that you put right on top of the glass. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
So it does two things. Like I said, it won't allow for break. It was actually designed by a company that was looking to make a bulletproof laminate. And it is a bulletproof laminate, but also, as most things in this world get figured out, one of the benefits of the product was it wouldn't melt. It kept intact at high temperatures.
It reminds me, we've never said this on any webinar. We never thought about it, but the Gigacrete plaster is actually a bulletproof plaster. If you put it on an inch thick, they changed the name to Ballisticrete.
So all the things that when you talk about your Gigacrete, that when it was a 4-hour rating and the guy had the 1400 degree torch on it, the glass, the paint, the cold fire, all the things that we're talking about here have all been tested at over 2000 degrees, like the Gigacrete. And I'll have a time with that temperature. So anything we use or we give to our clients or talk to people about are things that are designed to withstand wildfire temperatures.
And all these products and systems, I mean, your house doesn't look any different. No. Any style.
Just like you were showing the cement board, the varieties of construction that you can do.
Yeah.
We like you're saying, all of these products can go on your existing home today. Mm-hmm. We could retrofit your house today and make it and give you a chance to withstand a wildfire like what we just had. And this is one of the big things that we do. We have suppression crews that can go out and pre-treat properties. A lot of people don't understand that you can annually treat your property in your house yearly. And with the right products, once again, there's lots of things out there that are biodegradable, plant and animal friendly, that won't harm your environment, won't harm your kids, your animals, or anything in your property, that you could spray and give yourself some protection.
Mike, there's a question by somebody. The house that you just showed in the canyon with the sprinkler on the roof. What was the source of water there? Was it a pool or connected to a domestic line?
That was city water, and we have a pressure city water and pool water. So we have a pressure sensor switch that once the city water drops, the pressure drops, it turns a pump on, and the pump will pump the water directly out of the pool. And based on the amount of sprinkler heads that we have on a property, we have a GPM flow that we figure that it'll tell us how many run time, how long your run time is, if it's 5 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours.
One thing, Chris is gone, but one thing that he brought up to me, which I hadn't even thought about, the problem is always going to be there with the water pressure with all of these. And so, another reason why is once these houses start burning like that, you get all these houses burning. I mean, think about it. All the water connections inside the house, under your sinks and in your bathroom, whatever, those go away. And so now you've got open pipes that are just gushing water everywhere. The house is gone, but the water pressure has gone down.
Yeah. We had fire suppression crews in the Palisades. We treated about 260 houses during the Palisades fires, and we were pumping water out of the pool. We have pumps on our trucks to pull water like Chris does. We have pumps on our trucks that could pull water out of the pool into our tanks.
Yep.
And we had our own power. We have our own power on our trucks. When we leave, everything we do is autonomous. Even our crews that will go out during day or night and treat the properties, we're autonomous. We know that during an emergency evacuation system, you're on your own out there.
Yeah.
And you can't count on it. I've been told this for years. I've been working with firefighters for a number of years on this business, and I've heard it, but until you experience it, how alone you are. There's no power, there's no water. You are literally out there
and
fight.
And we're designing with that in mind in terms of, we always do smart house stuff, but your house has to fight for itself, and it's got to be autonomous. And if we do everything right, and now we're going to think about how do we shut off the water main, and you can do that with leak detection things and whatnot. Of course, that would shut off your interior fire sprinklers as well, so they would have to be plumbed around that so that they're not affected by the water main shut off. But just all of that stuff, and he was also talking about the amount of radiant heat that it can get up to 300-400 degrees inside the house with no fire inside the house, and then you get spontaneous combustion of furnishings and things like that. So you got to be able to run the air conditioning if you have it.
Yeah, correct. And I think that's what's about when you talk about your Gigacrete and some of the products that we use that are out there. The opportunity to keep the property cool is such a big thing when you're looking into fire, home hardening. Look for products that will actually keep the property cool in the event of an event of a fire. You don't want that direct flame, that heat to transfer into the house like we were talking about.
Right.
So I mentioned fire sprinkler, and I get this a lot from people and also from other architects too. That drives me nuts. But they say, "Oh well, the code now, all houses have to have fire sprinklers," and everybody breathes a big sigh of relief. Yeah, your house is going to have interior fire sprinklers because it's mandated by code. We're not going to do a damn thing for wildfire.
Yeah. If you're in a wildfire and your interior sprinklers are on, it's game over.
It's just another water leak, I mean,
yeah,
if you look at them, so code requires this is CPVC. Okay, it's a fire rated plastic pipe. All it does is do the same thing as the paint. It's an intumescent product. It'll char on the outside. It's still going to freaking melt, and it's going to come apart. And you see in the fires, in the pictures of the interior fires in a conflagration like that. These things are for an electrical fire or something that happens in your house. Cat knock
for your kitchen fire, like we're talking about, a little electrical fire.
Yeah.
That's all it's for.
Yeah.
There's a
Everybody-
question. I'm sorry, Jim, a quick question. How do you prevent smoke from entering the house?
That's good windows and no vents. That's really the house has to be sealed. Same reason you're trying to keep fire out of the house will keep smoke out of the house.
I don't think though, Jim, I don't think, excuse me, you can keep all smoke from getting in as much as your weather strip.
Yeah,
You've got doors that have,
still gonna smell like smoke.
seams. You got even the windows that have seams, even the vents that we showed earlier, although they'll stop a flame or an ember, there's still smoke probably penetrating
Yeah.
that. But
Well, another thing too is, houses by code are mandated because, they've gotten better insulated and better weather stripped and all of this. So all new construction, all houses have to have a recirculating fan. It's usually hooked up in a laundry room or, something like that, that will do an air change of so much air just constantly. And it's a quiet fan. You don't hear it. It's running, but it's pulling outside air and changing the air in the house. That would have to be shut off in a fire, situation for some time. So that's got to be part of the smart house stuff, because otherwise it's just pulling smoke in from the outside. So things to think about. But yeah, you can see that your interior fire sprinklers are not going to stop that.
Once we're in that stage, you're way past go at that point.
Yeah.
So
And what I like about what I was reading about you guys is you don't use the CPVC pipe. Yeah.
no, everything we do is metal. Everything we do is copper and brass. Even our sprinkler heads or the entire system, anything above ground is metal. So it's going to last. It's going to give you a fighting chance.
Yeah.
We also have a heat sensor and a camera that we place on this system that will turn the system on if you're not around. We have an ember detecting camera that picks embers and flames up to 2 miles away, and a heat sensor that when, like Chris was talking about, the winds blowing through, once the temperature gets to be 140 degrees, it'll activate the system also.
Yeah, autonomously.
Yeah. So if you're gone on vacation or out to work, you got a shot.
Yeah. And we talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about the cold fire, which goes on everything, which we love.
It's a wetting agent, and essentially what it does, when it mixes with water, it breaks down the molecular structure of the water and allows it to absorb into various products quicker and easier than if just water by itself. It is a water-based product, and it has a neutral pH, so it's actually safe for the environment, safe to apply on vegetation, and it's safe to handle. There is no expiration date for the product in storage. It doesn't have any solid properties in it, so we don't have to worry about it separating the solids setting into the bottom of the tank, and then it would have to be agitated and remixed. The product is stable from others that we've tested.
When you're looking at those sprinklers spraying around, you look at it getting into the canopy of the trees directly around the house. And that's one of the things I love about our system, is that when those sprinklers are spraying, it's getting into that canopy and it's going from the canopy all the way to the ground. So anything around the house is saturated, all your planter beds, all your in between your neighbor's house, those sprinklers will get to even to the neighbor's houses and just saturate everything around your property. It's such an amazing system that they put together. I'd love to see what it does.
So if you don't have a pool, you don't have a water source, you can bury a tank in your yard, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a couple actually up in Bel Air right now. We're burying cisterns up in Bel Air for extra water storage. We're putting 20,000 gallons underground at one house, and at another property we're putting 10,000 gallons underground. We've got a couple up in the mountains. We're doing 15,000 gallon tanks up. Yeah, I like the 5,000 gallon tanks. They're not too big, and you can kind of hide them in the back of the property at certain places. So we do a lot of that.
I can imagine. I know a lot of people are going through with the homeowners insurance and what's covered and what isn't. And it seems like this would be something that you would get a big break on for your insurance. The more fire safe you are, the more of a discount it seems like you should be able to have.
Yeah, do you know anything about that or?
We're starting to hear conversations finally. A lot of it has to do with events.
Mhm.
A lot of it has to do, like you guys were talking about, enclosing the eaves and stuccoing the eaves or putting some of the resistant paint that we use on the eaves. And we're starting to hear people that are getting sprinkler systems getting discounts too. So there's a lot of conversations out there right now.
Yeah, I know one neighborhood that we have in Lake Tahoe where we've become a Firewise community. So it's really talking to your neighbors and getting certified as far as that discount for insurance of working together as neighbors. You know,
Right.
helps.
Yeah,
We're getting ready to do a development in San Diego where we're going to do the entire 30 home development perimeter system in the houses inside of the development. And I think that's very interesting. It'll be a great case study to see what happens with those properties and the property values, and also the insurance, what the insurance does with that as well.
yeah, I saw something. There's a development in Japan that just did the same thing. So all the houses have the whole sprinkler systems and stuff. So, interesting. Um, so yeah, so you also do, you have
Yeah, so we don't like to call ourselves firefighters. We do have our own fire brigade. We have our own suppression crews that go up, but we prefer to talk. We consider ourselves, structure protection experts. You want us at your house when there's a fire. We're going to go onto property. We're going to seal it up. We're going to spray. The retardant on the property. We've got guys that will go stay at your house 24 hours a day during an evacuation. All of our guys are Cal Fire trained, Cal Fire safety courses. We've all been through the FEMA courses. We know how to operate and act during an emergency. We come prepared for anything and everything, like I talked about earlier. It's just where we're at with these disasters now. You really can't count on anything. So we have these services available for homeowners to reach out and to get us on a yearly contract, so that if there is an emergency, we're available to come to their house and look after them and take care of their property. So we've done a lot over the last 7 years with this, and the guys we work with are trained. We do have firefighters on staff too that work with our guys as well, but we've got a 40-man crew that's available in Los Angeles to go help. And that's what we like to prefer. We like the conversation. We're here to help.
Yeah, and I know in speaking with Chris before the call, he welcomes companies like yours that fighting fire alongside of them and helping really gives a lot of relief to the firefighters that are working so hard too. So that's
we
great.
like to have the pumps and hose set up on the property, and have things available for those guys. That's one of our mottos with our business, is like he talked about. If you take the time and spend the money to protect your property, these guys can see it when they're out there in an emergency situation. They see it, that you'll get firefighters at your house because they can see that you've given yourself a fighting chance, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for X's. They want to save houses. And they're going to look at houses that are like we saw when we were out there in the Palisades. It's like, wow, this house does not have a chance. People just don't do the upkeep. And I think now that people are encouraged to pay attention and to take a little more time and put a little energy into protecting your home more than ever now.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mike.
I think this has been a really great evening. A lot of good information. We would like to do the same thing. Get a firefighter who can tell us about Altadena and what that was like there. It's pretty much the same story, but we learn from every fire, and there's been lots of them, and there's going to be more. So we can't keep doing the same things that we're doing, and I think we're moving in the right direction if people will take the time. I hate to see houses being built that are built the same way. So we're going to be out in the Palisades actually next week, early in the week. If anybody wants to meet out there in person, we're happy to do that. just shoot us an email, see if we can hook up with anybody. And upcoming, we've got a couple of things. We're actually going to do a hosted guided tour of the Gigacrete factory in Las Vegas sometime in October. This is going to be for homeowners are interested in that system and want to talk to us architects and Bob. We have more experience than most in this. We've been using it for a long time. It's not the only thing that we use. We're not part of that company, but we want to host. It'll be open to homeowners that are interested in it. It'll be very limited in terms of space. We're probably no more than 15 people. So if anybody's interested, shoot us an email and we'll give you the information about that. But we'll take and walk it with Andrew Dennis, the CEO, head of the company, and get a lot of insight, kicking the tires, so to speak, of what's.
And I want to add to that that seeing it in person as opposed to seeing it on a video makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, we can take you through houses that we've built in Malibu and in Los Angeles with the system, but you should really see the factory and how they make this
Well,
stuff.
I think Bob, Jim and I have worked with them for over 15 years. So we've been doing a lot of their projects, kind of helping to develop that over the last 15 years. And it's just every time I go, I learn something new.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring because it doesn't have to burn the way that, that fires keep coming. And it's just one system that we, you can use components of it too. You could just use the stucco max or the plaster max, the interior, the exterior plaster, and wood frame construction, or you can use the whole system, which I think we were talking with Bob that it when it is built out in the factory, it's done in panels, so it's very concise, but it's not modular, so it could be any design that we come up with for the homeowners. And the ease of delivering that on the job site really goes up quickly. So you save, money that way because of how efficient it is and how fast it goes up. And the stucco system, you don't need 3 layers to wait as you're putting the different stucco methods on. So
If you want to come with us, yeah, shoot us an email and we'll get with you. And like I say, it's going to be very limited in terms of the number of people. So also upcoming is the Palisades of Malibu Chamber of Commerce has a rebuild expo that they're putting on in Sunday, September 28th at the Santa Monica Bay Women's Club. We will be uh, one of the participants in that. And look forward to seeing you there. There'll be more information that they will put out, but they're a very good resource for anybody. I don't know if people know about your Chamber of Commerce, and the same thing in Altadena. There's a lot of groups that are there, but your local Chamber of Commerce is really a wealth of information and resources. Um, and then lastly, tonight we have some sad news. Rick Carter is a insurance adjuster that has been on our team throughout, and he's done a couple of our webinars and helped a lot of people um, uh, work with their insurance companies to get the most out of their insurance. And he suddenly, unexpectedly passed away 2 days ago. And so we're dedicating this webinar to Rick, and it'll be sorely missed.
Yes, he has an ebook that really that he composed over several years that really helps you to anybody who's still dealing with insurance questions and trying to see what the best strategy of getting the most out of your homeowner's insurance. So
If
he's been
anyone wants a
very
copy of
helpful.
that, yeah, just
Yeah,
email.
if you want a copy, email us and we'd love to talk to you. So
Yeah. And if anybody has any questions that you think of later, shoot us an email. We will post the recording of this webinar to our YouTube channel probably tomorrow, and we'll send everybody a link to that. But anyway, we'll keep doing these, and as
We'd
we
love to meet people in person and go over the project. So,
like I said, we're going to be in the Palisades early in the week. So if anybody would want to,
or Altadena too. So we're
yeah,
working the whole system with the fires and helping people.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks for
Thank you
joining
all.
us tonight.
Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.